What's up, nerds? So I just finished episode 5 of The Penguin, and I have to just say this is a good show. I really do like it. I think that the writing is really good. I think the acting is excellent. All the way around. I mean, like even the kid that plays Victor. I mean, he's not like I personally don't care for him, but I don't think he's like a god awful mess. But I do have to say that Colin Farrell and the girl that plays Sophia are doing an excellent job. I really do enjoy their performances. So this episode, it makes me interested to see where we're going from here. They're changing up some things from comic book lore, but like I said in my last review, that when it comes to the comic books, we have to throw all that crap out because it seems like Matt Reeves is writing his own universe here. And it's not my favorite universe, but at the same time, the show is good. In fact, I've kind of like completely dislodged it as far as DC anything. It just takes place in a city that's kind of like New York, and then like these people just happen to be Maronis and Falcones and all that stuff. So I'm gonna get into this episode, which I thought was pretty good. And then I'll break it down, and I'll meet you on the other side, and we'll talk more in depth and everything, just in case, whatever. Anyways, all right, here we go. So Oz and his crew kidnap Maroni's son, Taj, and they issue an ultimatum to the Maronis, right? And they are offering to return Taj to them in exchange for the bliss shipment that Nadia took from Oz. So Nadia took all those mushrooms, right, with the little red grossness on top of it, right? And so they've got his drugs. So he's all like, I need that shit back. So he goes and kidnaps Taj. Terrible name. I don't fuck with people with weird names, but which is Maroni's son. I was confused on if it was his only son, but obviously it is. Anyways, so in which the guy broadcasts where he's at. He's at like some tattoo parlor, and I'm like, oh, people are so stupid when like they just broadcast wherever they are. Like, hey, I'm at the dentist, and it's like, here's my location. Come find me. so they go and they take him, and then he goes to the prison, and he's all like, yo, I got your son, give me the bliss and we'll be fine. And the Nadia, she's all like, we cannot trust him. And, Maroni, he's like, I got this, babe, and everything. So they plan to meet up, and it's going to be, they can bring some, a guard, one of their hitmen, and they can bring Nadia. And then I think Maroni was going to be there also. So, which, we all knew everybody was going to double cross everybody else. So during the trade confrontation, Oz, who has bribed a prison guard to assassinate Maroni and covered Taj with gasoline, right? So he ends up killing Taj and Nadia by lighting them up on fire. He lights them up like the 4th of July. Now, however, the fire activates a chemical fire, which extinguishes this like spray, and it destroys most of the bliss mushrooms. Now, while Maroni survives the attempted assassination on his life, and then he escapes the prison because he gets the keys from the prison guard that Oz paid off. So I did like this part, but Nadia was right. You can't trust Oz. Everybody should understand you can't trust Oz. So they're in their little thing, right? And, they everybody's got a machine gun and everything. But he covers the Taj guy in gasoline, which I just want to say right now. How did Nadia not smell the fact that it was gasoline? Like, I'm sorry. Gasoline has a very distinct smell. And I'm all like, honey, like, you're just a big dummy. And plus, her son, I would have like maybe got away from him if she wanted to survive. Obviously, she, it's her baby. So she's all like, I'm not going to let my baby suffer. Which I felt for that. But so this steam comes down after they set off a fire or whatnot. And all the mushrooms, they like turn brittle and everything. Which I was like, except for 2 plants, which were covered because they were in these buckets. Now, I don't feel bad for Oz because this is his problem, and it was his own making. He did all of this. But he kills those 2. And he paid a guard to shank Maroni. And that was a bad dealio. You always make sure that you got it. You make sure that you can hire. You should have got 2 and everything. But he does it, and Maroni survives, and he obviously kills that guard and gets out of prison and escapes and everything. And he calls Oz, and he's like, yeah, Dad, and he's like, yeah, why don't you call your wife and see what she has to say and everything. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, you're getting a little sassy pants for no reason because you haven't won yet, Oz, and we all know he's gonna win because yeah. Meanwhile, Gia is sent to a children's home, and then Vidi decides to support Sofia's bid as head of the family after they reminisce of her mother, Isabella Gigante. So she has got Vidi in like the catacombs of their mansion, which I was like, do all Gotham mansions have catacombs? Like you got the Wayne Manor, it's got its little caves and stuff, and this one's got its little, mortuary down there, whatever it's called. And and then she sends the little girl because she's like, you're not going to be, thrown to the monsters. I can't remember, but being in the foster system sucks balls. I don't know if she went to like an orphanage or whatever, but I'm like, why wouldn't you try to keep that little girl like in the family? But I don't know, but it was fine. All I know is that little girl is going to remember shit and she might come back later on in her life. But at that time, Sophia will be old anyways. So Vidi tells her that, your mom was going to leave you that night. She was my cousin. She was going to leave you. I had a car down the street. She was going to leave your father that night, but he, wasn't having it. And he was going to take you kids. And that's why he killed her. I was like, oh, that sucks. And she's all like, so then he, backs her and everything. So then later on, she is joined by Rush, who has fallen in love with her. And then Sophia rebrands the family under her mother's name and earns the loyalty of Carmine's men by arguing how they were similarly mistreated and neglected under Carmine's rule like she was. But when Vidi objects to her plans to make peace with the Maronis, Sophia executes him, like straight up. And then later, she goes to a grieving Maroni and she offers him an alliance to kill Oz. So first things first, Dr. Rush, little hottie patati, he comes to the mansion, right? And he's all like, Sophia, I love you. I want to take you to Pound Town. You know what I'm saying? Because you're giving, you're giving me blood flow. And she's all about it, and everything. But she's all like, first, I got to go deal with some shit. So she rebrands the family, the Falcone family, to the Gigante family because I'm a Gigante. And I'm like, oh, yeah, get out of here. And she tells all the men, she's like, you weren't made men and you were treated like cannon fodder. And she pulls out this big bag of money that, Vidi told her where it was or whatnot. She's like, you earned this. And my father, they all kept it for themselves, but you earned this and they treated you like pawns. I'm not going to do that. She's like, if you work for me, you will get paid more money than you've ever seen in your entire life. And she throws it on the table and Vidi's all like, and she's like, I'm going to end this war. And Vidi, of course, he spoke up, which I didn't think he said anything crazy bad, but he questioned her authority, and she had to make an example of somebody, and Vidi was the example. And he was right, because he's like, as soon as I give you what you want, you're going to kill me. And she did. So the men are just like, can we take this money? She's like, take it. And then everything. And they're all like, oh, no. I would have been like, don't fight, you guys. There's going to be more to come. Calm it down, bitches. And so they've got her loyalty. So she then visits Falcone, and he's off in like a little cabinet. She's like, oh, you like wood and everything. And he's grieving his wife. He's got a picture of her, of Nadia. And she's all like, my driver, he told the story. She's like, what I liked about she's like, my father didn't like about your family was that you were loyal to your family members. And you always thought that was weak. And I always thought you guys had it right. I have to agree with her. I think family is everything. So, if you can't trust me, once you have family around you, you gotta go to bat for them. So she's all like, if my driver would have came to you with that story, what would you done? He's like, I want to cut his tongue out. She's like, that's what I thought. She's like, I want to offer you a truce so we can kill Oz and then take over this city. And it's not a bad idea. So, but I don't know at the end, in the end of the day, can they really trust each other kind of thing? But I think they can. But we'll see. I do like the fact that she was all like, we need an alliance, baby. So that's good. So while all this is going down, Victor hides himself and Francis in a bad part of the town. And then Oz shows up and they go to an abandoned underground trolley station where they're going to set up their whole operation. So this whole time, Victor, he helps him kidnap Taj, but then he also takes Francis off to, I can't remember the name of the little part of Gotham that nobody cares about. But she takes her there. And the things I liked about this was we find out what happened to Penguin's brothers. They died apparently in the flood because he was like, they died like your family died. He's like, I couldn't protect them. I'm like, well, you can't protect them from a freaking flood, my dude. So they died in the flood. And then he takes him to an old trolley station that was abandoned because there was just too many funds and everything, and it just got shut down. But his brothers used to play down there all the time. So they go down there and they get a generator going. And he's all like, look at this. This is the perfect conditions for for mushrooms to thrive, which is going to be the bliss. And they got the 2 plants. And I think they will turn it into a thriving business because I do think Oz is going to end up on top by the end of this series because I think that Matt Reeves doesn't want to let go of such a good character as like he's created with this Penguin. And I think that what's his face, Colin Farrell, is doing a fantastic job. And speaking of Penguin, I want to show you guys this thing that I saw online, and I just want to talk about it for a hot second. I wasn't going to talk about it because it was so ridiculous that I'm not going to give it the time of day. So people online were putting up this shit right here, and they were saying Colin Farrell has been blasted for wearing a fat suit in his role as Penguin, with fans taking to social media to say only fat actors should be allowed to play fat people. Fuck off, you fucking losers. So Gabriel on Twitter said, if a skinny actor wants to play a fat role, they should gain the weight themselves, which plenty of people have. I mean, look at what's his face that played Batman before, Christian Bale. That motherfucker has fluctuated with weight all the time. So, and it's not healthy. In fact, he said he's not going to do it anymore because it's so unhealthy. I think Joaquin Phoenix said the same thing after this last Joker role, which wasn't that a big fucking mistake. And then it says Chantel, what a dumb fucking name, said, this isn't rocket science, but it is cultural appropriation. Fat actors are having roles snatched out of their hand by skinny actors with prosthetics. And I just go, oh, fuck off, Chantel. Same thing. I mean, the guy's an actor. If you don't know, that's the definition of acting. You are pretending to be somebody else, okay? So I'm sorry. Go fuck yourselves. You're Gabriel and Chantel. You two are fucking losers. But I thought that was funny that they're dissing on Colin Farrell for taking a role, such a meaty role. I'm all like, you guys are idiots. I mean, I would have taken this role, although I would have been bad. I'm not an actor. Although I don't think acting is really that hard. You're just pretending to be somebody else. So I think that this episode was really good. I mean, I am interested to see where we go from here. Nobody's watching this show, though. It didn't even make the Nielsen ratings, like its first episodes. No one's watching this show, which I think is a little bit of, bad because I do think the show is good. I thought this episode was really interesting. I like to see how it's coming together in terms of how Penguin's going to survive this with the bliss. I also like to see how Sofia is kind of, building her empire and a name for herself. I like her rebranding to the Gigantes. I also like, that, she's willing to work with her enemies to get what she wants. I think that shows a sign of real leadership. And it also shows that if her father had not been such a moron, A, he might still be alive, and B, Sofia would have been a better choice to take over the family, especially with her brother by her side. Her brother could have helped her out, especially with the whole drug thing going on. So, I mean, but at the same time, would they have had the drug thing if she wouldn't have been in Arkham? Do we know? I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. All I know is it's very obvious that Sofia would have been a competent leader. And she obviously can get people to rally behind her with the men and everything. So We'll see where it goes from here. I'm not gonna say I'm excited about next week's episode because this is not one of those shows that I get excited over. Like I'm not like, oh my god, I can't wait till the next episode. But it's not one of those shows where I'm all like, oh, I have to cover this again this week. I do when I'm watching the show, I do go, this is really good. And I do watch the show. I don't have my phone out, texting or whatever. I am engaged. So that is a plus for this show. The problem is no one's watching it. And it just if there's not an audience for something, it's not going to, I mean, I don't think this is going to get a season 2. But I do say that if they do make another one, a season 2, don't do the Penguin. I say pick another villain from this franchise, from the Matt Reeves verse, and make an 8-episode show about them. You could do the Riddler, maybe do some past stuff, and then what's going on with him now. Maybe do the Joker. Maybe introduce your villains through their Max shows, and then have them come to live action on the movie screen later on. Because I'd watch an 8-episode Catwoman show. I mean, I didn't really like Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, but I'd still watch it. But we'll see where they go from here. But tell me what you guys thought about this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think was so great about this episode? For me personally, it was the Sofia Falcone building an alliance and a coalition between the Falcone or the Maronis and, trying to build her own name/empire. But tell me where you think it's going to go from here. Do you think Oz is going to make it out of this show? I think he is, but we'll see. You never know. But tell me what you guys think. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind if you're on my channel. Please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on my next Penguin breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. Bye.